I am trying to give you practical hints. The experiences that we may get in our respective fields and what situations we have to face and how we should conduct our affairs. We come in contact with several people, and just as we try to know everybody who comes in our contact, judge him, assess his utility for us or otherwise. In the same way, people also are ever judging us and interpreting our behavior and trying to know the organization that we represent. Their impressions about the organizations are not gathered from any pamphlets and any lectures, but more from what they observe in their day-to-day life, from the workers who represent the organization. So, we have to be careful about it, and we can avoid many unhappy things if we take meticulous care about this side of the human dealings. In the same way, we also come across difficulties, not only when we come in contact with people, but when we work with our colleagues, those who are working with us, those who are co-workers. There are very real difficulties one has to face when we work along with others who are also inspired by the same ideal. As one who has the experience of organizational life for long years, I can say that this is a very real problem. Adjustment with people, temperamental adjustments, your adjustments which you have to make in matter of your views and others' views, both intellectual, emotional. So many times we see that two people cannot work together. They are inspired by the same ideal. Individually everyone is good. No one can say that a person is basically wrong, basically bad. Persons may be good, individually they may be faultless, but when they are together, they cannot put in unified effort. There is a friction. There may be 100 reasons for it. But this is a fact that because two people cannot work together, when one sees it, somehow they cannot pull on together. Then the only alternative remains is to separate them. This we face, all organizations face this problem. And the one thing that is to be taught to the people is how to make oneself acceptable to the other. This is perhaps the most important part of the training. No amount of lecturing, no amount of sermonizing is going to help. You may give examples, you may impress upon the people the necessity to acquire the capacity to adjust with others. But we find that this is not always possible. And then, just as sometimes we agree to differ, when all arguments are advanced and when there is no meeting point, and then the only thing that is possible is to agree to differ. All right, we differ on this point. In the same way, in many cases you have to come to the conclusion that, well, let us agree to part company. Let us agree to live independently. You see, when we go in for matrimonial alliance, in our society, the custom is that the kundali is to be tallied. The bride and bridegroom, the parents on both sides, they by and large, the parents, they accept the bride, or the parents of the bride find the bridegroom acceptable. Otherwise, their status, the education, everything. But still then, they want to see the kundali, the horoscope. And how far it is correct and how far it is effective, at least I am not able to say. But then they see whether what is the Rashi, what is the Nadi, what is the Gan, so many things are there. There are so many Ganas, Manusha Gan, Rakshas Gan, Dev Gan, whether the bride belongs to the Dev Gan or Manusha Gan and the bridegroom belongs to the Rakshas Gan, how can they work together? So they try to see that the horoscope tallies. If one is born under the influence of the planet Mangal, then the bridegroom also must be of the same type, same category. So many things. There is a custom. There is a very elaborate method. They are able to pull on together. So, in the case of matrimonial alliance, it is all right. But in organization, when you want to send two workers at one place, there is no method here to find out whether they will be compatible to each other. You have to just try the trial and error method, no other method. In matrimonial alliance, it is not possible. There is no trial and error method. You accept it or you reject it. Once they come together, then they have to live together for all life. But then in organizations, when people work together, well, if two people cannot pull on together, they can be transferred from one place to another. Unlike in a marriage alliance. So, the best way is to train a person or to get this training by which one makes oneself acceptable to everybody, or one develops a certain quality by which he can adapt anybody. He can make himself adaptable, adjustable. One should be able to say that you send me anywhere and any type of person may be working with me. I will see that I pull on with him. One should be able to say this with pride. I will be common factor to everybody. You try me anywhere. One should be able to say this. And one should have the tact to deal with anybody. There is only remedy for it. Otherwise, always you have to see when you send some 2-3 persons at a place, then every 6 months, every 1 year, or after some time you have to see whether they are pulling together, whether there is an affection. And if there is maladjustment, you make some alterations. Especially when every individual is all right. Every individual is perfectly all right. When they come together, they cannot belong together. Nothing wrong with anybody, basically. But their temperaments, they are not compatible with each other. In many matters, very silly matters, very trifling matters. Of course, only when there is a very strong will to live together. The basic thing is this, that if you love your work, if there is intense love for the work for which people have to work together, and if you have a strong will to live together, that alone gives you the requisite strength and requisite know-how to pull on together. There may be small matters in which you find that it is very difficult to pull on with others. I remember for the first time when I had left my home and I was to work with somebody at a given place. We both were sent, commissioned rather, to work at a certain place. And we both were chosen because we were very bosom friends. So thinking that these two boys will make a very good combination. So perhaps our elders chose two of us to go to a particular place for work. Of course we really accepted and we thought that what a good fortune that we two have been working together and playing together and living together for all these years of school and primary school and high school days. So now the circumstances have so conspired that we have to work together in this field also. We are very glad we went. Though we were bosom friends, we had never lived together under one roof. We had never lived together under one roof. So, when we reached the destination where we were to work and place was to be our field of activity. There we took one rented house. Rented house with rented room. Rented room just say 15 feet by 20 feet with bath, latrine, etc. In a big house there was a room. So that was to be our headquarters. From there we were to launch our activities. In a new city where all people were new to us. So we established ourselves. The very first day when we returned home after doing day's work, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we prepared ourselves to go to bed. We made our beds and now we are going to go to bed. Lights were off, and before making the lights off, my friend, he shut all the windows and doors. I asked him, what are you doing? He said, oh, don't you see what a great breeze is coming, it's very bleaking. So, it is better to shut all the windows. I said, but there is no breeze. Better keep at least two windows. This window and that window we can keep. Then there is some cross ventilation. He said, no, I'll die if you put these two windows open. So, I said, acha. So, windows are closed. Then he not only closed the windows, but he took the blanket for it. Those are the days of October. He took blankets. I was wondering how he could sleep. But then within minutes he began to snore. So thinking that it is a good opportunity, I opened the doors and opened the windows. So then he woke up in the morning. He was asleep. He woke up in the morning, say at about 4:30. And he said, what this, you kept these windows open and I was swearing, I am getting feverish. Now a real problem arose. Now we have to live together. Or one day it is all right. Now the second day, third day, either he must change his habits or I must change my habits. And this is not a habit which you can change by just making a will that we change how it for tomorrow. It is not just only making a signature on a particular bond. How can the habit be changed? Then, how to compromise? Of course, we are a background of very close friendship, and we could take liberty with each other. So, then what compromise was struck? This compromise struck that, well, now when we sleep, at that time, everybody is free. Whoever feels that the windows should be shut, whoever sleeps, in the end of the two, then it is his choice to whether to keep the windows open or to keep the windows closed. And the other man should not grumble. When he sleeps, when you are assured that the other man is sleeping now, then you get up in the windows. And after some time, suppose the other man gets up and finds that the window was open, then he is free to shut the window. And the other man should not grumble. So this alternately used to happen 4 times, 5 times a night. But this was a gentleman's understanding. That when the other man is shutting, the other man should not grumble. If the other person is opening, the other man should not grumble. Why this was possible? Because there is a will to live together. Anyhow, we cannot change our habits. Then what is the way out? Suffer. You suffer little, I suffer little. Both of us suffer. Had it been only for a day, all right, you sleep tonight, I will read, I will keep myself awake. But it is a daily business. So you suffer a little, I will also suffer a little. And both of us let us suffer and make our combined life as happy as possible. This is a very small thing. But then there may be very great difficulties in the way. Temperament like this means. If one is very short-tempered, and the other man also is short-tempered. If you see, one has a Rakshas gun, the other man has a Manusya gun. So, well, all right, he is a devil, I am a meek man, I will submit. But both are Rakshas gun. Both are short-tempered. Then, what will happen? Well, he is short-tempered, the other man says, I am also short-tempered. You have a liberty to be angry, I also have a liberty to be angry. If you give 2 evidences, I will give 3 evidences. How the persons are going to pull on. And many times we do come across people who have the same temperament. If one is of a calm temperament, the other is short-tempered, the other man tides over the difficulty. But not so if both are of the same temperament. I tell you an example of one family. That family became very famous or notorious in the town. They were perhaps the descendants of Durvasa and Jamadagni. The whole family was like that. All short-tempered. Once what happened in that family, the eldest son, he fell in love with a girl and he wanted to marry her. That girl was of a different caste. Naturally, the parents would never give permission or give their approval. So, the boy, when he found that in no way the parents are helping them to get married, so he went out and had a registered marriage and they lived independently as husband and wife. The father was wild, but because the son was not living with them, somehow he reconciled with them. After some time, the friends of the boy told him, then well, at least go and meet your father. Now it is 6 months. So your father might be angry, but now he must have calmed down. After all, you are his son and she is his daughter-in-law. So at least take the initiative, go to your father, prostrate before him and ask their blessings. So this boy also thought, yes, I should go, seek his blessings. So both of them, one fine morning they went to the father's house. Father was sitting outside in the veranda. When the boy came, of course, when the very sight of the boy was in full rage. And he said that you had the audacity to come to me and see me and seek my blessings. You are not my son and you think that your father is dead. Get out from here. So they both turned back, went home. The boy began to think that these people before me, I was not at all thinking of going to see my father, but all my friends said that you should do this, you should do that, and I have come and now you busted out like this. So he was also with rage. After all, he was his son. So he realized what should be done, what should be done. Now I should not take it lying down. He called all his friends. Nearby village he went and he called all his friends. And he performed Shraddha of his parents, of his father. Said that my father is dead. My father is dead. So this is the Shraddha ceremony. I am fatherless now. People had they participated. They really thought that they must have been dead. And this father came to know that this boy again, he got married and then he came to me, shamefacedness, he came and had the audacity to ask my blessing. And now when I told him that you think that your father is dead, he really has gone home and he performed the Shraddha of his father. So now the father's turn. Then he went with all his retinue to Banaras and he performed the Shraddha of the son. What sort of son is? This fellow, is he my son? I have never given birth to a son. So my son is dead. So he performed the Shraddha of the son. Well, if in a family people have uniform temperaments, if one is Durvasa, the other is Jamadagni, then you can very well understand what will be the fate of the family. They can never pull together. So, if there is no will to live together, and if what other man says is to be interpreted according to your temperament and not with sagacity, not with wisdom. You see, there are always two meanings to what you say. One is a literal meaning, especially when people lose themselves in anger and when there is a hot exchange of words and then you use words. Not always the words are to be taken for the literal meaning. The words are used to convey your feelings, convey your protest, your anger, your displeasure, your disapproval, and you may use any word, maybe harsh word. According to one's culture, he uses words. Sometimes when you are angry, you may use very, very nasty words which you are not capable of. But at that particular moment, you don't hesitate to use those words. Then you may repent afterwards. Then you may say that I did not mean it and I did not mean that. but at that moment you may lose. The other party, should that party take the words literally, or only understand that, well, he is using the word, that means he is angry. Nothing more than that. And if he has used these words, he doesn't mean it. But he only wants to show his protest, and in order to just convey to us that he is very angry, these words are used. It happens everywhere, even in very cultured families it happens. Now you just remember the Ramayana, when that particular incident, when Rama goes after Marich, when that golden deer is not a golden deer but the demon Marich, in the form of that golden deer, and then Ram runs after him to get at him, and that eludes, and then he is taken away, and then Marich shouts, "Oh, save me," and addresses Lakshmana. That was all a plan, just to take Lakshmana from the sea. And Sita naturally asked Lakshmana to go to the rescue of Rama. Lakshmana says, "No, I will be here, I must stick to my post. My brother has told me to be here. I shouldn't leave the place. He has kept me here for protection. I should not leave the place. Nothing will happen to Rama. Marich cannot do anything to Rama. Anybody cannot do anything to Rama. So let me not leave my post." You can understand the plight of Sita, the anxiety of Sita. Lakshmana might be saying with good intentions, but Sita wanted him to go to the rescue of Rama. And then when she finds that he is adamant and is not going, then it is imaginable why Sita gets angry and why. And then in that anger, what she says, something unlikely, something un-Sita-like. She says that, "Well, I know why you are not going," and says something very nasty. Well, Lakshmana, when he hears, he feels very, very bad about it. With great reluctance he leaves the place, because he understands that now Sita is very wise. My remaining here, God knows what it will lead to. So he goes in search of Rama. Of course, that was according to plan, so Sita is taken away by Ravana. Now, well, what is the, now you understand how Lakshmana behaves, what Sita says. In that particular context, Lakshmana had every right to scold Sita. What do you say? What do you mean? I mean, there could have been very, very hot quarrel. The Lakshmana, as we know, who like a shadow went after Rama and ultimately rescued Sita, to say such words against Sita, against Lakshmana by Sita, well, was it not offending? And had he taken those words literally, was he not justified in protesting? And could it not have developed into a very nasty quarrel? But after Sita said what she said, Lakshmana yields to her dictates. He leaves the place. The the literal meaning of what Sita said was very horrible, unthinkable, unconceivable. Nobody could stand it if we take the literal meaning of what Sita said. But Lakshmana did not take the literal meaning, only he understood that Sita is very angry. And Sita wants me to go, leave the place, to be out from her face. So he goes. These two temperaments, the temperament that Sita manifested at that time. Because Lakshmana had this understanding, the situation is saved. So, the situations can develop into very nasty situations. If one man loses temper, at least if the other man also loses temper, it can develop into a very nasty situation. So much depends upon the temperaments of each. If they happen to be of the same temperament, then there is no possibility of their living together. When one is angry, the other man is to be calm. When other man loses the temper, when one man loses temper, the other man, if he also loses the temper, then there is no salvation. There is no remedy. So in working together, if that will to live together is there and the understanding is there, the intellectual equipment is different from understanding. Understanding is a very, very rare virtue. Rare virtue. It is, I may say, it is even greater than wisdom. Understanding. You understand the situation and then decide upon your course. Don't get into heat. Don't get possessed of any emotion. Don't lose your moorings. See the thing in proper perspective. Actually, what happens? In our Gita it is said, Krodha bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti vamsha, buddhinasho, buddhinasha, pranasya. There are all the stages given. When you are under the spell of anger, anger brings delusion. Because your understanding is affected. You can't see clearly, it is blurred. As soon as you are under the spell of that anger, then your power of understanding is affected. Krodha bhavati sammoha. There is deluge. What you are called for to do, everything is forgotten. Krodha bhavati sammoha, sammoha, smriti vibrama. Smriti vamsha, buddhinasha. Then you cannot choose the right from wrong, the proper from improper, the good from bad. And buddhinasha, everything is lost. It is not only krodha bhavati sammoha, every emotion. If kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsya, these are the six emotions. Kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsya. It can be as well said, lobha bhavati sammoha, kama bhavati sammoha, kama, krodha, lobha, mada bhavati sammoha, sammoha, all these. all these Shadripus, all these 6 enemies of man. The same process, the same stages. All these stages are equally applicable to Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsar. If there is Matsar, if there is jealousy, if you are under the spell of jealousy, the same thing happens. If you are under the spell of greed, if you are under the spell of this egotism, the same thing happens. So, if one has to work together, one has to work in a team, then you must be restrained. You can't afford to give yourself under the position of all these, one of the 6 enemies of man. They are called Shadriputs. So this capacity to adjust with others is not just a very small adjustment that one has to do. One has to rise above the common weaknesses and acquire that understanding, which alone will help you in times of need. That alone will equip you, arm you to come out successful of the situation. And believe me when I say that in all our organizational work, perhaps if any problem is to be indicated as the most difficult problem or the most naughty problem, this is this problem. You send somebody to some place, you send him alone, he works very nicely. You send another person, then the friction begins. Sometimes it may click, but several times it does not click. What happens? God knows. All intellectual equipment, all understanding, all that you have learned, your love for the work, your love for everything, that doesn't come to your help at all. The only thing that will come to your help is, as a man, how far you have risen. As a human being, I believing in this philosophy and believing in that philosophy and believing in doing social work and believing in Advaita and whether you believe in Serve Man, Serve God, these things are absolutely irrelevant. They don't come to your rescue at all. How far you have acquired understanding? How far you are a self-composed person? All these little things, petty things in life, they are all, for example, if a man is jealous, it's a very petty thing. When other man's glory or other man's greatness, I cannot tolerate. When other man is advancing, I feel like pulling his legs. When somebody speaks highly about the other man, I feel belittled. It's a very petty thing in life. If somebody is praised, somebody is going up, it is a thing to be rejoiced. But instead of that, if somebody is making progress and I feel jealous of it, is a very petty thing. So these petty things, in one way or the other, they are responsible for this. What is egoism? What I say should be accepted. Other man's view, you are not able to accept it. Why? It's a very petty thing. What is acceptable also you don't accept. Only because you feel that by accepting, though you may intellectually accept, but by saying that you accept, you go down. This is what you ultimately come to. Many times you find that people fight over absolute trifles. What is acceptable? To say that yes, I accept this, you feel it below dignity to say it. You feel that the more you are intolerant, the more you are dignified. If you do wrong and if your mind tells you that well you have done wrong, say it. Don't feel shy, say it. If you are required to apologize, apologize. You don't lose anything. But this thing requires understanding. Ordinarily, the ego will come in the forefront, will not allow you to say this. If some man makes a suggestion, though I may feel like accepting it, but because the other man has given a suggestion and it is not my suggestion, I must oppose it. Why? It is the pettiest thing in life. But these 100 petty things play a role unless we are very, very careful about it. And that is how you make yourself acceptable only to few. You cannot say with confidence that well I can go anywhere and I can be acceptable to everybody. I will make myself lovable to everybody. This is my ambition to be a common factor to all. So, in later life you will come to know the significance of what I am saying just now. Many people will meet their Waterloo on this front. I have seen many people dropping out of work because they cannot adjust. They cannot adjust. They are good workers by themselves. If they are the only persons in the world, then they will be perfectly all right. But they cannot work with others. They cannot work with superiors, elders, they cannot work with juniors. They cannot know how to take work from juniors. They don't have the patience or the humbleness to work under somebody. And then co-workers they know not. This is the position. Many times you have to meet this situation. So, the first qualification or the first equipment that any social worker has to acquire is this capacity. You may call it tact, you may call it adjustability, whatever name you may give. you should be able, you should be at home with everybody. At home at any place, at home with everybody. You decide upon the strategy of your behavior considering the other man's temperament. You should be able to make your temperament suitable to the other person. I can very well say there may be persons who may be termed impossible persons. I can envisage. I have seen persons. The only word applicable to them is this, the impossible person. There may be persons like this. But by and large, I don't think the whole world is made of impossible persons. Most of the time, when we don't adjust, we are not able to adjust. It is not with impossible persons. It is with ordinarily good persons. But difference in temperament and because of your lack of understanding and lack of adjustability. Refuse to adjust with others because that is below your prestige. But others should adjust. You see, in marching, you have to change steps. Suppose you are in wrong steps. Suppose you march and then you feel that all the people are in wrong steps. They should adjust. You make yourself the center. Who is the guide? According to whose steps are to be corrected? Your steps. On the left and right, people may have been walking in steps. Your steps are wrong. You will expect others to adjust with you. You will not adjust. If this is the attitude, what will happen? Therefore, those who are given military training, those who are given training to march in steps, the person doesn't wait. If you see that by and large, this is the present beat, I will adjust. He doesn't wait for others to adjust, he will adjust. If there is high voice on other to adjust with other, then that is all right. Then you can find a solution. But if one were to expect that others should adjust, when somebody says that, well, people know that I don't like jokes, why should they cut jokes? They know that I don't like jokes. And therefore they should not cut jokes with me. Well, you know, you say you see that others know that you don't like jokes, but you also know that others are fond of making jokes. That also you know. So you also change. I don't like this, and therefore the entire world should behave according to my life. Why is this insistence? So this is a very long subject and perhaps it is no use giving lectures in the classroom. Only when you go to the field and where you will come across this problem. And this exercise in coming in steps with others exercise in adjusting with others, exercise in showing understanding that you will be called upon to exhibit, to manifest, then you will know this. But you will remember that this problem was dealt with extensively here, and this is a major problem with any organization, major problem. If one problem is to be marked as a major problem in any organization, it is this major problem. How to adjust with others and to adjust your temperament with others and develop this understanding. Develop a sociable nature, lovable temperament. Change your language. You must be able to use a language which is acceptable to people. There are ways of saying things. The same thing, truth. It is to be dished in sweet language. There are two ways of saying the truth. One is a very harsh way, which pricks a person. There may be other way, which may be equally a harsh truth, but dished in a sweet language. One king, he called his Purohit. He said, I had a very bad dream yesterday. So, I don't know what is the meaning of the dream. Can you tell me what is the significance of the dream? So that priest asked, what is that dream? He said, the dream is that yesterday night I found all my teeth are broken. All teeth, all of a sudden. I found that the whole teeth have come out. What is this? So the priest said, this means, according to our the established custom, when one gets this dream, it means that all his sons are going to die. He was very much upset. Then there was very great commotion in the palace. Then he referred this question to another priest. What is this? I am very much perturbed. This has happened, and the priest has told me that this is the meaning of this dream, and I am very full of anxiety now. What do you think? So he told, it doesn't mean that thing. It only means that you have a very long life, even longer than your sons. A very long life. You are longer than your sons. You see, is so? The same thing told by two persons. One says that all your sons are going to die. This is the meaning of this harsh truth. All your sons are going to die before your eyes. And the other man says that you have such a long life God has given you, that will be longer even than your sons. A way of saying things, a sweet way of thinking, an innocent way of saying things, and a very harsh way of saying things. So, what words you use, how you conduct your affairs, Sometimes man is fond of saying this. You say, I am a very frank man. I am a blunt man. I must say, I must say the truth. I am a very frank person. Frank person, he means that he must be very harsh. Frankness he equates with harshness. You may be frank. You may be frank, but it doesn't mean that you should not be sweet. So this is a spacious argument to justify your harsh behavior, your very cruel behavior. You may not make compromises with your principles. You may be firm, but firmness can be accompanied by sweetness. You can be sweetly firm. You may not leave your point. You will not make compromises. But you can be firm, you can at the same time be acceptable, be soft. Firmness and softness, they are not in any way incompatible. So, much will depend upon how you speak, what is your vocabulary, what is your way of saying things, way of presentation. So the whole behavior pattern is to change. If one has to say very confidently that, well, you may send me anywhere on the face of the earth, I will not be found wanting. You will never hear that, or you will never be required to transfer me from that place only because I can't belong with the person. I can work with anybody. I can be at home with anybody. That is my speciality. So this is a great qualification to work in an organization where you have to come in contact with all sorts of people and work with others and take work from others, where you are called upon to do. There, this quality, this qualification is of great importance.